got to respect people who turned the lights on for you.
Mase taught me how to rap, and Cam always made sure I was on every single album he had. There would be no Jim Jones if it wasn't for them guys.
1 hour later.
And it's good to hear you give Mase his flowers.
I ain't giving no flowers. I love to hate, because I'm a hater myself.
Okay.
You don't think Pusha T should be on the greatest 50 rappers of all time list?
Ow! What has he
What?
done? What has he done that puts him in the greatest rappers of all time besides talk about that he probably didn't get?
Jim Jones tumbled out again for just this reason. Push T was more than simply a performer. He appeared to be issuing a warning from the abyss as he gazed directly into Jim's soul and into the camera. Jim has been running from the spirit of repossession, he stated bluntly. A chilly remark about Jim's house being taken by the bank. That is brutal. But guess who showed up at the circus with popcorn? The humiliation didn't end there, Mase. Yes, the dollar symbol appeared as if you were watching a comedy show. Here's the real kicker, though. Jim refuses to accept responsibility and simply goes on, even after being humiliated in that way.
Oh, man. Okay.
It's what they want.
Rather than retreating, he plunged straight back into the fray, responding with a freestyle and hurling criticism throughout Instagram. At Mase, but also at Pusha. Brothers, you're making the comments section a battlefield. But let's face it, Cameron and Mase aren't overlooking him. Jim has been the target of their merciless clowning. Let's now discuss that little desk moment. During their live performance to promote their return album, Let God Sort Them Out, Pusha and his brother Mase did more than simply perform. They destroyed it. That was a declaration. The most outrageous part was when they performed Chains and Whips, a song they co-wrote with Kendrick Lamar, with layers of linguistic smoke directed directly at Jim. You can tell what time it is if you watch both of the little desk performances and that brilliant lyric breakdown.
You begged us. You are a fan. A fan.
Pause, though. Get off my...
Pusha T didn't blink, flinch, or do anything else. With a sly, malevolent smile and a dead glare, he delivered those lines as though he were directing a spell directly into Jim's chest via the lens. He wasn't entertaining the audience like a sharpshooter with a microphone. He was aiming straight at Jim. And to make it even more vicious, Pusha used surgery to break Jim down. It was more than simply rap. That was poetic accuracy. It's the sort that causes humiliation and injuries. But let's be honest. Jim Jones was solely responsible for this. He was not instructed to start this argument. He abruptly became involved in the beef purely out of a desire to stay faithful to Drake. Jim became a full-time attack dog for a man who hasn't even thrown him a verse. No offense to Drake. Let's discuss the Whips and Chains bar. The elephant is here, even if we are all in the room. Out of your element, you're pursuing a feature. Pusha was letting it all out. That was a clear jab at Jim for pleading with Drake for a feature so much that, in an attempt to gain attention, Jim went on air and declared Drake to be the greatest rapper of all time. Jim lost it all when Billboard released their list of the top 50, which included Pusha T at number 29. With such sidelong intensity, he addressed the Breakfast Club, claiming that Pusha wasn't even deserving of a spot in the top 50.
Pusha T records right now, his records.
Yes.
Name
I love Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh, you was a Pusha T fan.
If you know, you know.
I didn't know he had fans like that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No, his records.
See, but
no, can you? No, can you rap to 5 Pusha?
I can't rap 5. No,
all right, can you rap to 5? Wait. Can you rap? If 5 Pusha T records, not the records he's featured on, if 5 Pusha T records came on right now, could you rap them?
You could rap 5 Pusha T records?
Yeah.
No, could you rap 5 Pusha T records right now if they started playing?
What do you mean rap though? Like the hook? Like just like
Because you sing them. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that.
Pusha
But
top 50.
you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like, I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life. I never thought, like, you dig? Like, where I'm from, I want to be like you if you was really that dude and that rapper and things
Wayne
like that.
wanted to be like Pusha? He was influenced by Pusha?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's why Pusha did the Mr. Me Too record.
Okay, cool. You a very strong Pusha T fan. Nigga, you is nowhere near the top 50. You top 950.
Then, as if that weren't enough, he emphasized the Rap Caviar podcast even more, claiming that Push hasn't really impacted the culture. Jim Jones responded with a freestyle right away, proving that Pusha T's brutal bars, chains, and whips struck a chord. Here's the story twist, though. In actuality, that freestyle is 2 years old. Yes, after Clips unveiled the chains and whips rhythm during a Louis Vuitton fashion show. A sample of the song leaked, prompting Jim to record it. Even before the song was formally released, they strolled out to it. Jim managed to obtain the instrumental, went to the booth the next day, and performed that freestyle as if he had something important to show. But let's go on to the present. Jim made the ultimate nasty act when Clips' Tiny Desk performance went viral and the internet erupted in applause. He posted the old freestyle video to Instagram again as if it were brand new, adding the shade as a comment that said, "I thought we addressed this already. The desk was too small. Therefore, he would need a larger one. This is surgical," he added. "I don't tell stories." Fans weren't buying it at all when I was alive trying to seem cool while tossing half shots. Jim is being ridiculed by his own fans. If you look at the comments, someone stated, "You got triggered and smoked so bad. You re-uploaded a disc from last year." He said no names, "and you're claiming enamel on your necklaces," remarked another, making fun of him. The coldest of them is when jealousy develops into obsession. Man, give it up. You're getting harsh. Not only from the internet either. Cameron and Mason were also powerless to stop themselves. You can already see they're giggling uncontrollably right now because of their complicated past with Jim.
How you doing, man? Yes. Play too much, man. Oh, what's happening? Oh man, this is crazy, man. All right. Oh man. Okay.
It's what they want.
They have been observing this development as though it were high-end entertainment. In all honesty, they're handling it as though karma had come full round. Now, if you're wondering why Mase was laughing so much during this, the answer is profound. Much more profound than a simple viral trash song. This dispute isn't new, you see. It has been developing for decades. Jim Jones, Cameron, and Mase all grew up in Harlem together, or at least that's Jim's version. That anecdote, in Cam's opinion, isn't particularly kind to Jim. The three of them were members of the Children of the Corn, an underground rap group. Back in the mid-1990s, their first team was that one. Additionally, Mase was the first to blow up out of everyone. After signing with Diddy's Bad Boy Records, he rose to fame almost immediately. Shiny videos, gaudy outfits, and the entire Harlem Shake, period. However, Jim claims that's where the change occurred. Jim subsequently claimed that Mase changed quickly after he blew up, began behaving goofy, and distanced himself from others who had first supported him, including Cam. And that struck a new chord. Earlier this year, Jim said in an interview with Justin Layboy's Respectfully program that he even sat there and watched Mase disparage Cam as if it were nothing. He claimed that the respect vanished at that point. Cam was still working hard on the streets while Mase was swimming in gleaming. outfits. Additionally, Cam made sure to invite Jim along when he eventually had his chance.
Mase on Cam and everybody around him.
Wow.
A bitch like all the time. You heard? Like I was there the whole time, but
Shit
I
on
was
him.
Cam's man. You heard? Is that I wasn't there for every single thing. Everybody Cam didn't like, I didn't like. And I already see how he was handling Cam, so I definitely didn't like him. You dig? And then I seen how much love Cam had for him and how Cam was jumping out the window for him, which a friend should. Like that, like, being overprotective, making sure nothing happened. Like, he was trying his best to make sure that Mase stayed as safe as possible, but Mase had got that money and lost his mind.
The Diplomats were born in this way. Harlem, hustling, and loyalty. But after all the shady intrigue, Mase vanished. He left the world of rap and returned as a preacher, a devout man of God. Then he abruptly returns to rap, attempting to re-engage. With the scene he dipped on, Jim didn't believe in the comeback. He believed that Mase was a vacillator who only appeared when the spotlight was hot again, alternating between the pulpit and the studio. Yes, there is no denying that Mase and Cameron have had a good deal of turmoil in the past. However, in 2022, they formally put an end to that feud and changed the course of events with their sports podcast. It is what it is. Although the reunion felt hot. It's obvious that seeing Mase and Cam cool again stirred some old wounds. The enthusiasm of the kumbaya was not with him. He felt deceived and excluded. What then did Jim do? He began to take small-time offenses. He even went off on Mase once more recently, making fun of his appearance and telling everyone that Mase needed to work out and follow a diet. Actual salty conduct. However, as you are already aware, Mase and Cam weren't going to take it lying down. They got all petty and introduced Jim's long-standing rival, 50 Cent. The one guy who is sure to irritate Jim. Additionally, they featured 50 prominently on their show, acting as though they were a special guest of honor rather than merely passing by. The setup followed. Smiling, Cam turned to face Mase and asked him nonchalantly to explain something from his past. Why did Jim Jones unexpectedly attend a Gunnet gig in 2007, while Dipet and Gunnet were at odds? Cam was aware of his actions. From the beginning, that query was a setup. A flawless alley-oop was sent into the air and 50 snagged it with a vicious slam in midair. Without hesitation, naturally, Jim accepted the bait, hook, line, and breakdown. He abruptly interrupted the politely hosted program with Justin LeBoy, yelling at Cam and 54 bringing up his name. Jim claims that they owe him a great deal of favors, whatever that may be. The shots didn't end there, though. Jim claimed to be the creative force behind the entire Dipet atmosphere, including the music and the visuals, and he cranked the dial all the way up. He even claimed to have been the inspiration behind Cam's entire signature look, which included the renowned pink fur coat. Yes, Jim made a sincere effort to assert that. Come on, though. You obviously know that Cam wasn't going to tolerate it on the podcast. He quickly clapped back and attacked Jimmy. Jim's entire Dipset Genesis myth was deconstructed by Cam, who openly accused him of lying and presented the actual chronology. Jim was not from Harlem, as he frequently claims to be, according to Cam. Jim wasn't one of the originals, he said, and the Dipset was in motion before Jim ever joined in. Cam said the truth about it. Jim wasn't in the trenches when the movement began. He wasn't a founding member, and he was a late addition. Then it became much more sloppy. Jim had claimed to have seen Mase's son during the Mase bad boy phase in an attempt to appear as though he was there, returned in the past. Cam closed that completely. According to him, Jim wasn't even present when it occurred. Cam claims that Children of the Corn had already established themselves in the underground scene by the time Jim arrived. Jim was just a fan, too. That was only a fan joke, but after that, things really started to go south. That phrase struck a deep chord with everyone in the audience who recalled the days of Dipset glory, not just Jim. Cameron wasn't only disparaging, he grabbed Jim's entire rap persona by the foundation. One brick at a time, industry insiders claim that Jim has been enraged behind the scenes ever since the episode aired. He has been criticizing others, draw attention to his contributions, asserting that he created the Dipset brand from the ground up. The street presence, the mixtape grind, and the graphics. However, the issue is that May and Cam are now in charge. They are controlling the story. Jim, meanwhile, is struggling to remain in the discussion. 50 Cent, meanwhile, is enjoying every moment of this. Without exerting much effort, he has been stirring things up with clever captions and cryptic memes. Not to mention that the 50s had a vivid memory. He would never forget Jim's support for Ross during the Gunnet feud. And without doing a single thing, he is now getting his retribution. This is where it becomes even more bizarre though. Mase and Cam are not finished. According to people close to them, they have been preparing a comprehensive documentary series. And guess who might not receive the recognition he desires? As you are already aware, Jim is concerned that if they take over the narrative, he would be reduced to a supporting role in a movement he spearheaded. Here's the problem though. Hip-hop and legacy are more than simply music these days. It's about who is in charge of the story. Jim Jones is currently seeing the rewriting of Dipset's tale without him being the author. He's frantically attempting to regain the limelight before it's too late because of this. According to insiders, Jim has been contacting former allies, secure interviews, schedule podcasts, and do whatever else to share his perspective. He even made a suggestion that he had unreleased material, receipts, and video that will correct the record. Let's face it though, the internet has already taken sides and things don't seem good for him. Mase and Cam, meanwhile, are maneuvering like chess experts. They are only making subtle jabs and letting the videos speak for themselves. They are not shouting or raging. And every time they do, Jim appears more like the resentful ex-friend attempting to attend the reunion to which he was not invited. Then there are the supporters. Loyalists of Dipset are divided. Some people ride with Jim out of deference. He is being criticized by others for being a victim. A single viral statement summed everything up. After years of destroying bridges, you can't complain about being left out. Even the possibility of a full-length Comex Mase documentary is already being discussed. Harlem origins, the bad boy era, and the formation of Dipset. The ultimate power move would be, without mentioning his name, erase him. Jim is aware of what it implies. Once the public settles on a version of history, nobody else will do it in an industry that is based on perception. It's obvious by now that this conflict isn't limited to Instagram or music. Cross-platforms, interviews, podcasts, and headlines. It's taking place in real time. It concerns who has the last say. And Mase and Cam are in charge of the message and the microphone. From a sports podcast, they have transformed it into a cultural power instrument that, depending on who is targeted, may either elevate or destroy. Jim Jones is also beginning to see that he is losing more than simply narrative control. He is completely being written out of it. Viewers are reminded that they were the ones who are actually present each time Mase cracks an inside joke or Cam delivers a smooth line. Jim is unable to prevent his stories from being disparaged on television. The platforms are different for him. While they are producing this stuff, he is responding. The saddest aspect is that the younger generation, who are not raised on Dipset, is only witnessing this version of events. The one in which Jim was only a supporting player who arrived late, became rowdy, and caused trouble, never a real founder. Jim has been sharing nostalgic pictures and heartfelt appeals to remind people that he was the driving force behind Dipset's movement. However, Mase and Cam's silence speaks louder than any message. They are letting the fans make the final decision. Additionally, the fans are currently laughing with Mase and Cam rather than Jim. People behind the scenes claim that Jim feels confined, alone, and deceived. He believed that being faithful would get him a place at the table. Rather, he is observing everything from a distance. Jim is also running out of time to change the storyline since there are whispers that Cam and Mase may be negotiating a book contract, or possibly a streaming special on the early Harlem days. Cam, however, didn't end there. He took it straight to the heart. Okay? He pointed out that Mase had really taught Jim how to rap before he left the receipts. Real-life videos in which Jim acknowledged it on camera. It is undeniable. It was an incredible moment. The most outrageous aspect was that Mase didn't even need to speak. He ate a bucket of popcorn while remaining calm as ever and laughed so hard that he almost choked every time. Cam jabbed Jim. That man seemed to be enjoying the performance as if he had purchased front row seats. It was trolling at the genius level. No diss tune could compare to Mase's quiet. Jim nevertheless fell for the ruse in some way. He replied on the internet that he would swat the popcorn from Mase's hands. He couldn't even contain it, brother. But don't worry, Jim isn't going to back down. Absolutely not. Rumor has it that he is preparing for retaliation in the booth. Additionally, he is requesting reinforcements this time. Jim and Drake are already working together on his next album, Iceman. Additionally, sources claim that he has a whole repertoire of subliminal messages prepared. No one is safe, not even Mase, Cam, or Pusha T. Additionally, industry people are already gossiping about one specific track. This type of tune has the potential to change the course of events, stir things up even more, and perhaps even put Jim back in control. However, what are your thoughts? Will Jim dig himself further, or is he set to make the biggest comeback of the year? Leave a comment with your ideas. Is Jim Jones now pursuing ghosts, or is he the underdog retaliating?